What is up, everybody? Armchair Tuna back again with another video. Before we even get into today's video, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. It has been a really long journey that has stranded all the way since the the 1.0 update. I couldn't have done it without all of you guys in the grounded community to thank for it. It has been so long, and I put my heart and soul into this channel to put out content for you guys that you all love, and that is pretty much it. I also like to thank people. I would also like to thank other creators such as C Dinky, Astro Nerd. Also, once again, you guys for helping me get to this point in my YouTube career. And so I don't have really any much else to say besides, yeah, let's get into today's video. Today's video is going to be on the patch notes of the 1.4.7 update, as they have, well, the patch has finally been released. I know I'm really late to this, but I still wanted to get this out of the way. So without a further ado, let's hop right into the video. So the new thing they've added to this patch is an AFK state to grounded. So now when the player is inactive for 60 seconds, hunger and thirst is reduced by 95% until the player returns. This is really good because, especially in a multiplayer world, single player, this won't really matter because you can actually pause your game, but in multiplayer, this will be really good in case, you know, you have to go get food or just do anything in real life and you don't want to leave the world that you and your friends are in. So I'm really glad that they added this, and I wonder how well this is going to work, but knowing Obsidian, this is going to work well. So I'm mostly going to skip all of this. Y'all can read it if you want to, but this is mostly just stuff that was already in the patch notes before. I will say this, the Mantis did get a nerf to where you can now parry her scream, which is really good because similar to the Broodmother before she got her scream nerf, it was so annoying being perfect, just having a perfect run during a boss fight, and then they do the roar and all the infusions get applied to you. And it's really annoying because you get the bleed and also a parry debuff from the Mantis, which is really bad. It's nowhere near as bad in my opinion compared to the Broodmother's debuff, to where it's just a 40% decrease in damage, but it was still pretty bad. And here's one of my changes in this update, well, in the newer version of this patch. So armor upgrades, you can now finally upgrade armor to level 15, but also the upgrade costs have been reduced by 40% since the last public test build. All I can say is thank goodness, because it was super grindy to get all the fusion crystals you needed to not only upgrade your weapons, but now also your armor. So the fact that Obsidian have reduced the amount of fusion crystals it takes to upgrade your armor, it's just so helpful. I'm so glad they've done this, because now you won't have to spend hours constantly farming bosses or infused creatures just to get all the infused ooze to make the crystals. Infused attack damage significantly reduced against buildings. In my personal opinion, I haven't really seen this. For me, it still felt the same during the 1.4.7 update. I kind of yet don't really see a difference. Like, the infusions still absolutely shred through all of my builds, especially the infused wasp raids. The infused wasp raids are just an immediate reroll of my save for me. Killing the mini mantis no longer counts as killing the mantis and only rewards 3,000 raw science. This was in, I believe, the second version of the 1.4.7 patch. This is one I really love though. So for custom settings, you can now adjust your remix level. Let's just say I'm like in New Game Plus 12 or something like that. And instead of it saying X, well, it'll still say X in the base game, but if you go to your options and then go all the way down to the remix level, it will now say exactly what your remix level is. So this is a really good change. I really like this. Remix scaling, and they've actually changed a bunch on this. Infused creatures reward a base of 3,000 raw science, increases by 10% per remix level. So the boss rewards are 12,000 but increased by 30% per remix level. Boss drops, I didn't even know this, but I think this was in a previous note or patch notes. I may have just forgot it. At New Game Plus 4 and higher, bosses have an extra 30% chance to drop an extra infused ooze, once again to make it so much easier to grind for infusion crystals. The Burgle Quest and Raw Science pickups have been increased by 100% per remix level, so you are going to be getting a lot more per Burgle Quest and Raw Science per level. Me personally, I would just go for the Raw Science because the Burgle Quests are still kind of niche. They still only reward you for like 3,000 Raw Science, even in like New Game Plus 6. And what I love the most about this, and this just came in the new set of patch notes, is the Infected Broodmother now has a completely separate scaling compared to all the other bosses. So before, it was the same as the other bosses to where it would reward you with 12,000 Raw Science, increased by 30%. Now it rewards you with 40,000 Raw Science and increases by 30% per remix level. So the Broodmother, the Infected Broodmother, in my opinion, it just did not make sense that she was the hardest boss in the game and she rewarded you with the same amount of Raw Science as any of the other bosses, because all the other bosses were infinitely easier than her. So it's nice that Obsidian made it to where if you want to, you can go above and beyond and get that extra Raw Science from killing the Infected Broodmother if you want to challenge. And here's the new creature damage scaling. I remember this. So it's going to go up by, I don't know how much. Before it was just 20%, but obviously with the new armor changes, it seems like they're adjusting it, but I would want to say, it increases by 25%, then adds 15% on top of it. So then also the mutation changes that come in. Barbarian's going to be a really, really good mutation now, with its perfect block window being increased by 60%. And finally, Apex Predator can now work with all of the infused boss weapons. So before, all the infused boss weapons would not work besides the Blaster of the Moldy Matriarch. That was the only boss weapon that would work infused. Now all of the other boss weapons can now work. And I'm not really going to go through all the playground changes because I don't really care about playground, but if you want to, y'all can check this out for yourselves. I will slowly scroll, but I will check out the major bug fixes. So additional fixes to help prevent pets from falling through the world or being permanently lost. This was a major issue, especially in my world, where I would just be walking or reload a save, and 2 of my pet ants died because of that, which really sucked. Fix a crash occur when relocating ladders. I did not know that was a thing. Fix a crash that occurred when using Shinobi Sneeze, and fixed a bug on Steam where achievements did not proc correctly in shared worlds, which that would be pretty annoying. And Cupid arrows. This was at the very beginning of the patch notes, but before the 1.4.7 update, Cupid arrows would actually make the player invincible. Originally, they were designed to where if you shot a creature, they would be charmed under your effect and attack the creatures around it, or one of its own kind. But then it was really weird because people were like soloing stuff like the Black Widow. I don't think it worked on bosses, but really hard enemies. And they would just cheese the Black Widow or infected wolf spider by doing this, and it would attack them, but it wouldn't do any damage to them. So this has gotten fixed. Some other bug fixes are that salty weapons now work underwater. When attacking underwater creatures, it turns them into jerky. Ambassador tree. It still says trinket when I think they're meant to say mutation. No, with a pet no longer makes ants see you in ant hills. Pet gnats won't stop following you if you bump into them. Burgle Quest. There's a Burgle Quest that was bugged with Mixologist. It now asks for normal smoothies. A few playground copying bugs. Antenna will no longer duplicate when re-entering design mode. Ant Queen gear summons now correctly aggro on enemies that spawn. The Burgle Eyes now properly increase the crit rate of Fergal's old flipper. The crit hit chance from final crit boost effect no longer stacks infinitely. For a short time, this was actually a really, I wouldn't say busted build, but a decent build to use for like a week before it got nerfed. And some other issues with the world and UI and localization file fixes. So that is all for the 1.4.7 patch. And before we end today's video, once again, thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. It has been such a long journey, and the fact that I finally made it to this point makes me so happy. But anyways, that is all for today's video. I am Armchair Tuna, and I will see you all next time. Peace. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe.